Going to start, lads, with the action from the Ulster Club Championship. All 4 Ulster Quarter Finals took place over the weekend. The first one, the one that really jumped off the page straight away, was the meeting between Watty Glen and Errigal Ciarán, champions of Derry versus champions of Tyrone. I mean, you're talking about an Errigal Ciarán side that have come out of probably the most competitive, certainly in terms of statistics, the most competitive club championship in the country. 10 different winners in the last 10 seasons. Errigal Ciarán winning the title this year. The Glen, obviously back-to-back champions in Derry now. This was a real case of the Glen hanging in there in the first half. In the first half that they were not particularly on top in. I mean, Errigal Ciarán hit 7 out of the last 8 points of the first half. You know, Errigal Ciarán hit by 2 sucker punches, 2 goals at key stages. Matt, I'll come to you for the first one. Do you think the first goal should have stood? Conor Glass floats the ball in, wing forward, Conor Convery shoulders the Errigal Ciarán goalkeeper, ball ends up in the net and the goal stands.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Like, I'd probably come to goal, give the forward the benefit of the doubt there. Like, it was one of them situations where you just have to allow the goal to go in, really. But in an overall sense, like, Glen were probably the better team. Like, they had more energy in them going down the home stretch. Like Errigal Ciarán, like, I didn't expect them to put up this big performance, to be honest with you. Look at Tyrone, like the Tyrone Championship is competitive, but looking at it over the last few seasons, a lot of teams go into the Ulster Championship from Tyrone and don't do particularly well. So Errigal Ciarán did do well, and in the odds, Glen were second for the All-Ireland. So they got their campaign off to a brilliant start. They have brilliant players all over the field. And they'd be my bet probably to go all the way, probably win the All-Ireland. They probably get to the final, to be honest with you. At least probably against Kilmacud Crokes. So this is good. And the thing is, rather than Kilmacud Crokes, they're getting games that they're competitive now, because Errigal Ciarán the first game, Cargan will be a difficult team as well, probably Kilcoo in the final, whereas Kilmacud Crokes are probably going to the latter stages of the All-Ireland if they get that far in hold. So Glen, I think, will have an advantage there going to the All-Ireland final. But it's baby steps at the moment for Glen, and this is the first step towards a very good win for them.
Yeah, and certainly not baby steps there from yourself in terms of predictions for who's going to be in that final. I mean, me and Aaron were having a joke there. How many teams so far in the club championship have we said, God, that team looks great. You know, they have an inter-county spine running down and they get knocked out the next week of the club championship by the next team that they play, who then become the next team. I mean, off the top of my head, how many teams have looked great? I mean, Mount Bellew, Westport, Nemo Rangers, that have all had one game where they broke through only to be knocked out the next round. Then the other one as well, obviously, Luke, there were 2 other goals in the first half, one coming from Alex Doherty, that was the Glen, but that was after Tommy Canavan had hit that goal for Errigal Ciarán. And going into the end of half time, those, as I mentioned, 7 out of the last 8 points were kicked by Errigal Ciarán. Rory and Dara Canavan were absolutely to the fore there. Did you think that they were going to probably go on to win, given the position they were in at half time?
Look, it's an interesting one because they defended so well in the first half. When you limit the Glen to only a point in the first half as well, I think they would have absolutely bit your hand off for at the start. But conceding 2 goals in the first half, and in a game when you only concede 3 scores in the first half, the fact that 2 of them are goals is an absolute sickener. And I know that they're going in kind of 4 points up there as well, but the fact that they shipped that as well, they knew that the Glen were going to come back out as well. Look, the Glen kind of worked it out pretty quickly. That the first half, like you talked already about that start as well, that I think they were quite happy, Errigal Ciarán, to just leave Rory and Derek Canavan up there on their own, and just to say, like, everybody else is dropping back and the 2 lads are going to do enough damage up front. And in the first half they did. Then the Glen adapted really well, and once they adapted well, look, they took over. But I really think I was actually surprised in how close it was and how good a game the Glen got here. I thought the Glen were going to be too powerful for them. I thought Errigal Ciarán in year 1 would maybe despite having like some top players like Peter Hart and just a really, really strong spine, I thought that the Glen were going to maybe blow them away a little bit. So look, I think full credit for Errigal Ciarán for the performance. I thought they played really, really well, really put it up to them as well. And look, they're a team they're definitely going to be building in the coming years. And I think they'll be quite satisfied with their performance as well. And looking, if they can get out of Tyrone again, they're going to keep getting better each year, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, like, I agree 100% what you said on a previous episode, that Errigal Ciarán have the makings to break this spell of, a new champion every year in Tyrone, because they have the Canavans, they have Peter Hart, they've a really, really strong crop of lads coming through there. And I agree that, look, they made the changes at halftime. They got so much stronger. Matt, did you notice anything in particular? I know Ethan Doherty's goal was huge. And then the points off the bench, Stevie O'Hara hit 2 crucial points at clutch stages. And Emmett Bradley's point as well was brilliant. But was there anything in particular that you noticed that was really the swinging of the game from Errigal Ciarán back to the Glen?
Looking at this, when the scores actually came, that was probably the main thing. And I counted 1-8 came in the second half for Glen, and that's an incredible statistic actually, because let's not forget we're in conditions where it's rainy, it's windy, and they score 1-8 in the second half. I mean, it's a decent Errigal Ciarán team as well. So I think that probably swung the game in a way, and probably the goals of the first half that really killed Errigal Ciarán off. Well, Errigal Ciarán chipped away at the points. They were still doing well enough, and then Glen just powered home, and probably it was their strength and conditioning that got them over the line. And this is why I think they'll do well in All Ireland series. They're a bit like Kilcoo, they're a bit like maybe the Donegal teams from 2012 as well. The power they have, the pace they have, the strength they have, they can go over full 60 minutes, 70 if necessary as well. If this was inter-county, they're not going to be team Glen. So I think they're a decent note to crack. And it wasn't as if Errigal Ciarán played badly. I just think they were beaten by a better team on the day. Glen are an outstanding team. And the fact they won by 4 points, a decent team up at the odds of Paddy Power, the fact that Errigal Ciarán only got to 4 points probably shows they're a team that's going in the right direction in Tyrone. They'll probably win it again next year if they keep their confidence up. Like, if they, well, I suppose, like, you know what the club championship, and especially with Tyrone, once you get one game and then you're gone completely if you lose it. So that's a big thing, really. Yeah, but I think Errigal Ciarán are heading in the right direction. But for now, I think Glen, their power, pace, and their second half performance ultimately won the game.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. One thing I was so impressed with as well was the Glen's determination right down to the last second. I mean, I know it's an old cliche. I know it's a thing that any pundit can say about any team, especially when they come out on the right side of the result. But there was one moment at the end of the game, the cornerback for the Glen, Conor Carville, he intercepted an Errigal Ciarán attack. He laid the ball off. And then if you watch it back, he sprints from basically his own 13-yard line to get all the way up into the Glen full forward line. He ended up in a 2-on-1, and his other partner in that was Conor Glass. And I don't know how they didn't put the ball into the back of the net to finish Errigal Ciarán off once and for all. But it ended up with a Stevie O'Hara point. But that sprint by Carville, Luke, that really showed to me just there is something different about the Glen this year. I just feel like the fact that, as Conor Glass put it in the post-match interview, there was only one mistake between them and Kilcoo last season. I feel like they have a real chip on their shoulder this year as well, considering they came so close last season to going so much further.
Yeah, look, I keep saying it, is that I think teams kind of need a year to I suppose, to get their foot in provincial and just understand what provincial's like and how to win those games. And look, the Glen have got that now. They've seen Kilcoo in the flesh last year as well. They'll have learned a lot from that game. They've probably, you could say that they've probably improved this year too, I'd say. So, no, I think they'll be quite happy with where they're at the moment. Like, the other thing, that's going to really stand them, that game against Errigal Ciarán. That's a proper game. They have to come through there as well. Kilcoo, like, fairly eased past Ballybay. We'll be getting to that soon enough as well. They didn't really get much of a game against Ballybay. It was nearly double scores they bet them by. So, look, there'll be, I know like, we are jumping a few steps ahead here, that the fact is that they will have to play Carrigan next, but look, I think not many people will be betting on Carrigan, I suppose, in that. So, look, I do think it probably is fair to say kind of that, to eye up that Kilcoo match. And even in the interview afterwards, Conor Glass afterwards, when he was asked about it, like, he obviously gave credit to Carrigan and said, look, they'll be up next and stuff as well. But look, they were, that the Glen as a unit are looking at Kilcoo and do want to get that rematch to try and I suppose overturn the result last year.